What's going on, YouTube? I thought I'd make another video. As a wage slave, I make more with a few clicks than I do for my daily salary. It's something to think about. It means, like, for a lot of us, we're stuck in these dead-end jobs that we don't like. Me, I really don't like my job. I'm surrounded by a bunch of freaking NPCs and mouth breathers that I don't care to be around. And dealing with the commute sucks. And then, yeah, it's like, but then on the flip side, so you got all these super wealthy people that they make more money just going to the bathroom than we can make in sometimes in a year. I'm not going to say it's not fair, because there's rich people out there that put in the work and they're enjoying the fruits of their labor, but there are some, scumbags out there that it was handed to them and they haven't worked a day in their lives, and they reap all these benefits of being ultra wealthy. So yeah, I was just thinking, I'm just a normie wage slave, but I'm doing my best, right? Hey guys, what's up? I know there's a few people in comments asking to show my portfolio, and so here we go. Yeah, so as you can see, we're down a lot. It's a continuation from last Friday, Moody's credit downgrade. Well, people are saying it's a political move. Who knows? But they don't have a lot of credibility. You know, Moody's downgrade, they had AAA ratings on the bad mortgage loans in 2008 that led to the housing crisis. So I don't think they have a lot of credibility. But anyway, so we're down a lot, 25K. And I know it only says I have around 820,000-ish. So I had about $1 million portfolio for all but like maybe one day, and then back down we go, of course. The other missing 150K-ish is in my Coinbase account, and I'm sure that's down too because crypto took a hit over the weekend as well, although Bitcoin is recovering. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's go into my positions. So at first glance, you can see it looks like I have a lot of positions, but I'll explain that in a second. But so my strategy basically is I have a mix of long shares. I have shares that I hold, and I don't use margin. All right, sometimes I'll do a swing trade, but then the other part of my strategy is I sell options. And if you guys know the term ThetaGang, I try to take advantage of that. So let's click on Tesla because it's by far my largest position. And look, it says 1480 shares. I sold like 20 shares just to take a little bit of profit. And my net liquidity combined with my short puts and my shares and long leaps is 561,700. My delta is 1880, which is just a fancy way of saying what your long exposure is right now. For every dollar that Tesla goes up, that's my account will go up $1,883. That's what delta is. So if you look at the first one, this May 23rd one right there, I sold that a couple of weeks ago, 23rd May 2025, with a 120 put strike. And right now it's worth nothing. It's worth not even $1 because expiration is this Friday, right? And basically, I bet that another way to look at it is I bet that Tesla will not be below 120 by May 23rd. And they gave me $35 up front. And basically, that contract's going to expire worthless. Some dumbass on the other side bought that, surprisingly. And if you can see, like, yeah, so I have a whole bunch of contracts. Let's look at the right column, says PL open. I sell a bunch of these all the time, going all the way down. Some of them I did. When Tesla really tanks, I go a little more aggressive and further out. But look, 18 June 26, I sold a 50 strike, 6 of those, and now I'm up $1,500 on that. And then here are my long call options that I bought on the tariff tantrum dip. I have 18 June 26, 240 call strike, and I'm up around 13 grand on those. And then I have these December 18, 2026 bleeps at 280 strike, and I'm up 14 grand on those about. So that's my, so yeah, and I have a couple other things, like I mentioned Unity, which is a turd, never does anything. I think Roaring Kitty from GameStop fame is supposedly in this stock. That's why I jumped on it. But so far it's done nothing. We'll see what happens with that. This is what I was referring to. Anything with a slash is typically futures. So I sold some oil futures, some S&P 500 futures, and I'm in a Russell contract right now. And these are ZB. This is the equivalent of TLT, or the 30-year bond. And these tanked, guys. So like, the Fed showed their hand today, this morning. The bond, 30-year bond, or TLT, hit the same exact level as it did when at the worst of the tariff tantrum, and then the Fed intervened and they injected liquidity and propped up the bond market. So the printer is already on, guys. It's just they're not explicitly outright saying it, because then obviously it'd be like euphoria and everyone would be jumping in. They need to keep it a little discreet, and only the insiders can really know what's going on. But I'm telling you that BTFD, buy the fucking dip right now, because they're ready to pump this shit. Okay, so those are my positions. I have some other crap, Rumble. So yeah, these ones with just arrows, like I sold some Coinbase put strikes, and I'm up a little bit on these. And it doesn't look like much, but it does add up. So let me demonstrate. Let's do a Tesla, since that's the main one. So you want to sell put strikes on a red day and covered calls potentially on a green day. Typically for puts, you want to do, the sweet spot is 30 to 45 days. So I'll pick the 20 June 2025, this drop down menu right here, because I like OPEX. That's a monthly expiration, and I already have a bunch. So I'll sell the 185 strike you see in the middle column. It's 185, and the left side is call, the right side is put. So we're on the right column, we're going to click bid. All right, trade. Parentheses means we're going to receive 54, review. Max profit 54. The scary thing, it says max loss 18,446. That means if Tesla potentially went to zero, I would lose that much money, because each contract, remember, is the equivalent of 100 shares. And then credit received after the commissions is 53.49. And so people are going to look at, like, wait a minute, buying power only $604. So that's because I have something called portfolio margin trading. You have to have a minimum of 125,000 total account value, and then you can apply for it on the Charles Schwab site. But it's very capital efficient, because if I didn't have portfolio margin trading, I would need to come up with so the strike was 185, right? So I would need $18,500 collateral just to sell this one contract. And that is not worth it at all. To lock up over 18 grand just to make 50 bucks for a 30-day period is not worth it at all. But in my case, I can do it with portfolio margin. I'm just going to say PMT for short from now on. I can do it while only doing $600 collateral, And the reason is because when you have PMT, it does basically the collateral is calculated by risk instead of the outright cash amount. Meaning they determine through their algorithm, like, okay, Tesla probably won't hit 185 in this time frame. So we're only going to ask you to hold $600 of collateral. I mean, I'm oversimplifying, but that's basically what it comes down to. And the problem is, if Tesla starts tanking like crazy, knock on wood, my buying power effect, that 604 you see right there, it could have potentially turned to like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 so you have to be very careful when you do this. So let's click send real quick. And there you see on the bottom it said filled. So I'll go to orders, filled, and at the very top you see the contract that we were just doing. I sold for 54 bucks. And I sold a bunch of other crap today and bought a bunch of stuff. I bought some TLT, some TMF, which is a triple leveraged version of TLT. And I sold some ZB bonds. So yeah, so that's it. I made 54 bucks just with a few clicks. And let me do another one real quick without talking. I'm gonna do AMD. Options, click on the options column. I'll sell a put on AMD. And I'm not gonna get as much premium, but it's still different. So let's just do $75 put strike. It's only $11, but still another $11. So I could be greedy. I could do like, look, I could do 65 strike. Maybe I want to sell like 3 of these for $4, and I get 12. You know, you can even do like, some people go freaking ham and go like, you could do like 20 at a time, right? And then see, I can make 80 bucks. But I don't recommend doing that because, you know, black swan scenario and it actually happens, you need to come up with, you know, a lot of money. 6,500 times 20, you do the math, that's a lot of collateral. So I don't recommend doing that. I just sell like 1 at a time. I'll just do 1 and it's $4. Filled. So you might guys, some of you already might be thinking, big deal, $4. But I do this every day. And, you know, I went really slowly because I had to, you know, I'm trying to explain what I'm doing to anyone who's watching this, but it literally takes like a few seconds per. And if I'm doing this every day and I get like 10 bucks here, 20 bucks here, 50 bucks there, sometimes I go aggressive when the market's really down, I'll make a couple $100 with one contract. Like it adds up. Like even if it's just $100 a day, what's 100 times 5? 500 in a week. 500 times 4 weeks in a month, that's $2,000 in a month that I made doing nothing. Kind of. And then again, that's on a very conservative side. If I'm typically doing 2, 3, 4, 500 bucks a day, maybe even 1,000 bucks a day. And it's good because the reason I like doing this is because it fits my, I guess, my personality. You know, I'm as much as I talk shit, I am just as emotional as any other person. I like to FOMO in. I panic when the shit's tanking too much. You know, so the good thing about selling options is it tells you the maximum profit up front, right? Like I don't have to think about, oh, when do I sell? You know, like it's already, when do I take profits? It's already told me how much I'm going to get up front. And then you let Theta do its thing and it eventually decays to zero. Here's another one, Microsoft. I should probably do more Microsoft. It's only $5 again. But if I'm doing $5 here and there, like 10 times a day, that's 50 bucks. If I'm doing 100 times a day, that's, or I'm sorry, 10 times a day. Yeah, you get the point. And how do I determine what strike to pick? I just go by very basic, like I've set up all these indicators, as you can see, but I basically go by just the weekly, this chart over here, weekly RSI. And I go by, like, if it's oversold, I'll start selling more. And like for the strike, I'll pick, like, see, like the recent low is around 215-ish. So anything below 215 is pretty safe, I would say. And if it's not, oh well, since I'm bullish on Tesla, I'll get assigned at 215 or whatever strike I choose. So yeah, that's it. For some of you, this was very basic. For other people, they're like, I don't understand anything I just listened to. But there's plenty of YouTube videos on options and option selling and explaining what calls and puts are, but I don't even recommend doing that. it's kind of like the explanations are too like technical and it makes you even more confused. Just know that when you sell put options on the, like again, on the right side, we'll use Tesla again as an example. Basically you're saying, again, so we'll look at, let's look at May 11 days from now, May 30th. So let's see on the right side, 150, this one right there. In 2 weeks, you're just betting that Tesla will not go below $150 per share price. And if it does not go below 150, you collect that contract premium. In this case, it would be like $5 or $4. Does that make sense? And on the flip side, I've been talking mostly about puts. I'll sell a covered call, right? Covered calls, honestly, covered calls have screwed me more often than not because Tesla makes these unpredictable moves, but I'll demonstrate here. So I'm going all the way down on the left side. You see this? 460 or 462.5 right there. So this is by Friday, $5. In this case, it doesn't take any buying power because I have shares to cover it. Boom, $5 right there. So that's a covered call. And covered calls, they've done okay for me. I made 10K on covered calls in the beginning of the year because I sold last year when it was after the election, when it went to 488. I sold a bunch of covered calls, but it was good and bad because it screwed me because I was locked in and then I couldn't outright to sell the shares because my covered calls went super negative. But it worked out, I guess, kind of. So yeah, please, if you have any questions, just ask, like, and I'll do my best. And I'll try to post more videos of this. You know, it's gotten to a point where it's like very automated and mechanical for me. I don't even think about doing it. And yeah. And look, okay, we're recovering a little bit. Hopefully we're green by the end of the day, right? Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.